Welcome to Key Conversations, where you get to connect with the best of the music business, unlocking the secrets to exploding your music career, presented by In the Key of Success. I'm your host, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. The conversations you're about to hear are between our special guest and participants of my MX4 course, the Marketing and Branding, Money-Making, Mentorship Mastermind for Musicians. They are singers, songwriters, composers, producers, and artists just like you, asking their burning questions of our experts while transforming their careers over 6 weeks. If you think this could be you, check out mx4course.com to schedule a free half-hour coaching call with me to see if we'd be a good fit. So, let's get started. Okay. I am very excited to introduce Andree Kaminsky, founder and CEO of the first and only national singers registry, singerexpress.com. We're going to hear a lot more about what that means and what that is exactly. And if you stick around to the end of this, which you totally should, there's going to be some really great deals and offers that Andree is going to offer just the listeners of this podcast and the people in the MX4 course. So we'll hear more about that. But I just wanted to get started by saying, Andree, first of all, thank you. I know you're so busy, so thank you for being here today.
It's my pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
I wanted to just start the conversation before handing the questions over to the MX4 participants, sort of see what are maybe 3 career highlights, things that you've done that have gotten you to being the CEO of this company, and sort of how did you follow your passion to land where you are now?
Well, I guess initially I followed my passion, which was I was always taking care of people. I was basically, whether it was babysitting or whether it was helping people, fill out contracts, or whether it was helping them figure out their schedule or how to pack for a trip. I mean, my whole life I've just been helping everyone. That's what I like to do. That's been my sort of go-to thing that I'm good at. And so when I worked in theater and in bands in high school and college. I was the caretaker. I just took care of everyone. So I made sure they got where they needed to be. And it just sort of turned into, so I never set out to be a personal manager. I just set out to I was going to go into education and early child development. But on the side, I grew up in the music business and the entertainment business. It was something I knew. So I just started helping people. And I started to notice specifically with a job that I had as a sales rep at a film and music production company, one of my first jobs out of college, that all these singers were coming into these sessions. They were so busy. They had no idea how to keep up their schedules, how to pay their bills, how to, do everything that they needed to do. And I couldn't believe it. And I was, very, very young, and they were seasoned pros. And I couldn't believe that they were just really unable to handle all the business sides of things. And to me, it was just so natural. I just grew up with it and I loved it. So I just started doing it. So I ended up managing singers, but I never set out to do that. That was never my goal. So I sort of followed something that just happened. So for 20 years, I followed something. I didn't create something. It happened. And then I realized as the industry was changing and the technology was changing, that the very specialized niche management company that I had built, which was called Fretless Productions Management, which specialized in the personal management of just singers, that model was really not doing justice to the singers or the people that hired them, because I could only manage maybe 8 or 10 singers at a time. Right. And there was hundreds of singers I was turning away. That was not a good thing. And the people who were hiring singers, as technology and industry changes came, they wanted more and more access to different talent. So I was providing it, but we had no income revenue stream for it because I wasn't managing them. So I knew I had to kind of reinvent the wheel. And this business, singerexpress.com, the National Singers Registry, I actually set out to create. I did the research. I looked at the market, and I actually went out and made this happen. So it's a little bit different path for me where I am now than where I was for most of my career.
That's really interesting. And
long answer.
No, that was pretty concise. And it's funny because I've sort of gone the similar way, like, I'll just do this opportunity. I'll do this thing. And like music fell into my lap. And then it was, something shifted, and I was like, I haven't chosen any of this. And then once I decided what I really wanted to be doing, the choices, it's like, I'm just so much more in love with what I'm doing. And I think that we all hit that point. So that's just an inspiring story in and of itself. One more question for you. What's the nutshell overview of Singer Express. What does a singer get out of being a member of Singer Express specifically? I know my experience of it, but I wanted to sort of, before tainting listeners' ears, what the point of the registry is. If someone hasn't heard of a singer registry before, what does that mean?
Well, it'd be probably pretty likely that someone's not going to hear of it before because it's never existed before. So, and we're still relatively new and not the industry standard yet. So it would make sense that most people don't know. And I think people make assumptions about what it is without actually knowing what it is. So it's a great opportunity. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to clarify what we are and what we are not.
Yeah, great.
So really, I took all the things that I realized as a personal manager for singers that they needed, but I realized they didn't really need personal management as much as they really needed marketing and promotional support, because they really needed to connect with the opportunities. But a lot of them wanted to and were quite able to represent themselves once they got there. And they might need help with negotiating a contract, or they might need help with this. But who knew who would be the right person for that, depending which direction their careers would go. So I really wanted to make sure that we kind of would offer them what they needed as they needed it when they needed it. So the first step is to be a member, and you pay an annual membership fee. You get a singer profile page where it's really a snapshot of who you are. It's not a deep, in-depth look. You have a photo, you have searchable vocal styles, you have up to 3 minutes of vocal sample demo space where people can hear you sing, and we educate you on how to upload those samples. In other words, just not one long 3-minute demo vocal, but breaking it up into 30-second edits, and why that is. We educate you on all the different aspects. So you create a singer profile, and then we market and promote it to the people that are hiring singers. So as vocal talent, you have 2 ways to access opportunities to connect with people who hire singers. One is just by creating an amazing singer profile page that really talks about who you are as a singer. And then the second thing is we have a custom remote casting company, and there might be 5 this week and none for 3 months. But that department is, you have access to the casting notices exclusively that come from that department, and you can submit to any of them that are right for you. And many people submit from their voice memo app on their smartphone. So that's another way to, there we go. That's another way to connect for great opportunities with people who are hiring. Is Singer Express the only thing that singers need to do to connect with singing work? Absolutely not. We didn't design us to be that. That's not who we want to be. I like to look at it as a great tool as part of your overall marketing toolbox. So you still need to have a website. You still need to have all your social media avenues open and working. Oh, hi. And, you still need to continue your marketing and promotional plan. So this is really a great asset that you're adding to your overall plan as a way of connecting to people you're probably not going to connect for. The opportunities are pretty vast. It can go from singing a radio or TV jingle, as it were, to a live tour with Bette Midler, to a soundtrack for a film. I mean, anywhere that a singer is needed, we are trying to bring every person who hires a singer. Like I said, we're not the industry standard yet. I think we're about 18 months away where then anyone who needs a singer is going to know this is where they go. But we're still working towards that goal and educating people because, we've reinvented the wheel, so it takes some time to educate. And then we offer all of our singer members the opportunity to, let's say they get called for a tour and they don't know how to negotiate the contract. All our members can get all those tools that you need or all those services that you need of a personal manager on a one-on-one basis for a one-time opportunity. So you can say, hey, can you help me, negotiate this contract? Can you negotiate on my behalf? Can you help me create a vocal demo for a project? Can you help me prepare for this audition? Can you help me create a marketing package? Whatever it is that you want, you can come to us and either for an hourly fee or a commission, and we would work with you on that project. We'll offer those services to you when and if you need them, and only if you need them. So it's really a different way of being able to be there for our talent for what they need, as opposed to telling them what they have to use and have to need ahead of time, which none of us know.
Right. That's great. You get to really cherry pick what you need and what you use. And
great. Cherry pick's a great way. I always forget that. That's really what it is.
My personal experience with Singer Express, I met Andree through when I was working at a jingle house, and the people I was working for said, "Hey, you're also a vocalist. You should check out Andree. She used to manage singers, and we would go through her to find great vocalists, so that the music houses that are writing music for commercials, if they needed some singers, they would only have to go to one person and not have to go Google searching singers and try to get in touch with them." So that was what Andree, you were known to the music house I was working at as that. And then when I got in touch with you, you said, "Hey, I just started this thing, Singer Express." And then I got on Singer Express, and the gigs I've gotten have well paid my membership fees for the next 10 years. The membership fees are really low and reasonable for a year. And we'll talk more about the opportunities that Andree's going to offer you guys that are listening at the end. But basically, I've gotten gigs like singing the background vocals for Karaoke Tracks, a karaoke company that's creating the tracks for karaoke songs. That was a really fun one, doing the harmonies for like Katy Perry songs and stuff. I've actually gotten a little bit of voiceover work. So a lot of times there are people looking for, I get those emails and they say, we're looking for someone that's not a typical voiceover announcer person. So if you have a microphone set up, I have my own studio here and I'm always doing that work. It's really great. Be like, yes, I can read this for you. And it's very subjective. I feel like, the voiceover stuff, they hear what they hear and if they hear what they want. And sometimes it works and sometimes it does. I submit all the time. It's so easy. So I've gotten a couple of those, which have been really fun. And Andree was right there. Here's the contract. I'll negotiate for you. Here's where you got to go. And it's so easy. It's great. So yeah.
The whole voiceover thing is kind of interesting because we really don't market and promote getting voiceover work. It's not who we are. There's really great companies similar to who we are who really have their finger on the pulse of the voiceover world. So it's really never been part of our mission. But it's become a huge part of the work that comes in because what's happened is people who hire voiceover talent, whenever they don't want the regular traditional voiceover talent, they've discovered that singers are a great alternative because they're familiar with how to work in a studio. They're familiar with rhythm and so many interesting things. So it's become like another weird niche that we never really planned. And so we do have a significant amount of voiceover castings, but we will not, it's not a reason to join. It's not, we're going to tell people that they're,
right.
going to change their lives for voiceover. But I think for singers, it's just another avenue because there are limited amounts of singing work. So It's really nice that there's another avenue, and it's something certainly that we're kind of excited about, but certainly not our mission by any means.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, I think that was a good intro, a good summary. Now people have an idea of what we're talking about. So I'm going to pass the ball to the MX4 participants that are on the call. We've got Chrysanthi and Scott just called in here, and I think we've got Alex on the phone. So I'm going to start with Chrysanthi. Do you have any questions for Andree off the top of your head?
Sure. As someone who might hire singers, what are the advantages to getting someone through Singer Express versus another avenue?
Well, because there really aren't a lot of other organized avenues to find vocal talent, certainly that we're aware of or that we've heard about. So most people that we know in the business, when they want to hire a singer, they're going to go to a fellow producer friend or writer friend and say, hey, I need someone who sounds like this. Who do you have? So go ahead. Sorry, Cheryl. Were you going to say something?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So that, for the one thing, there really isn't sort of an organized way for someone to go and find talent. There are contractors out there, and generally what you end up having is the contractors are going to, be familiar with their select pool of talent. What we try to do by being national is, for one thing, you as a producer, and this really is it's very dependent on your personal style, and that's why we have both options available. For one, you can go into the database yourself as a producer, and you can search, find, and contact talent directly whenever you want 24/7. So you don't need to utilize any of our professional services or our support services at all. And you can contact the talent directly. You can sort of see them, hear them. You can do all of that at your own time and then decide if you want to contact them. It gives you a really nice variety of talent at your fingertips really quickly. What we have learned, and that's initially what our mission was, that was all Singer Express was supposed to be when we first built the company. We had a very small casting division because I knew that there would be a few people, sort of more old school people, I thought, who really wanted more hands-on attention. So we had the small casting division. But in fact, what we've discovered is more than 60% of our hiring producers now utilize the casting division because it's just quick, fast, easy access, and you get our support services with it, and it's really cheap to use them. So I think that's why people come to us, because basically a very quick turnaround. They can say, hey, I need someone who sounds like this, and they can get so many options at their fingertips really quickly.
Yeah, good question. I was also interested, okay, from the other side of things, how does that work? So great question. Let's go to Scott. Hi, Scott. Make sure to unmute yourself there. Do you have a question for Andree?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was wondering, because I'm a singer and a violinist actually too as well, but I haven't done a lot of studio work. I've done a few things for some friends and other recording projects or like other bands, and jumped in there. What would be a good way for me to get started if I wanted to try to attain more studio work as a background vocalist or as a demo singer? What would be sort of a good launching point? Because I signed up. Thank you so much for the generous offer, by the way. I did sign up as a singer on the site, so I took advantage of that. I haven't filled out the full profile yet, but I feel like I don't have a lot of accolades to put on my a resume. So it's like I feel like I need a good starting point.
Starting from scratch, yeah.
So the nice thing is, I think you've taken the first best step that you can have, which is to get a profile in Singer Express. Because why not have the experience to start creating your profile and building your online presence with people? Because it takes very often, the one thing I always say to people is, joining Singer Express or being managed by a personal manager or whatever it is, that you do as a singer is not going to change your life tomorrow, no matter what. It takes time, and there's no replacement for time. It's repeated exposure. It's getting your foot in the door for that one time. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday with my husband, the backup quarterback. Like, what's his life like, and when is he going to get in? Well, it takes an injury or some set of circumstances, but there is a chance. And I think for a lot of opportunities with singers, it's the person who's standing by and who's built their presence and who's ready to go, that when someone else is not ready to go for whatever reason or is not able to do a situation and someone's in a crunch, that's usually when your door opens. That's not to say that there aren't other ways. Certainly, if when someone's looking for a voice and your voice comes in, there's a chance that you're going to get that chance beforehand. So I think you have more opportunities than the backup quarterback for sure. But it is still being realistic. Your life's not going to change, and you're not going to become a working singer overnight no matter what you do. So anyone who tells you that, whether it be me, the owner of this company, or any other marketing or promotional tool, they're not telling you the truth, because you've got to start somewhere. So I think if you signed up for Singer Express, that's a great start. I think it's really important. Probably the most important thing as a singer is your vocal sample, and it's your business card. And I can't tell you how many times people are like, oh, I haven't gotten to that, or oh, I haven't done this, or I'm going to get to it, or a friend's going to help me, and they don't want to spend the $200, $300, $400, $500 or $1,000 or whatever it costs to, depending on what you already have, to create a good vocal sample. But to be a singer and you get that opportunity and someone goes, well, can you send me something? Yeah, I can't get to it now. I don't have it. It's not with me. No. It's your business card. It's what you do, and you need to have it with you at all times. And there's two different kinds. There's one, which is not what I recommend for our site, but you still need to have it, which is what I would call the 3-minute elevator pitch, where you've got just a continuous vocal sample with a bunch of different styles, so someone can sort of get an idea of who you are. And if you're a singer-songwriter and a performer, it might have a video component. So you need to have that ready on your phone, ready to send out to anyone who wants to hear it or play at any point, whether it's on SoundCloud or wherever you keep it, or whatever, it's a link. You need to have a personalized website. And then for our singer page purposes, what we want is we want you to actually have individual uploads of different styles and different things that you do. So someone, let's say you sing rock, pop, and opera. We want to hear the opera because the opera person doesn't really care about your pop singing. And if they do, they can go listen to it. So I think starting out is having the best advice I can give you is to have reasonable expectations, because to want to be singing on things is playing the lottery with better odds. So if you go into this thinking, okay, I've done this, I've paid my, $99, and now after a year, I haven't booked anything. As a beginner, you know what, I would say 3 to 5 years is when you evaluate it. And that's really how we have managed and how we come up with our membership pricing and the way that we do things, because we really want you to have that opportunity. It costs us way more than we're charging you to keep your membership for a year, but we want our members to have the opportunity to take the time it takes to build an online presence. Another thing that's kind of interesting is we've heard from our producer members, they're not very proud of this, but I share this all the time, which is they go searching for a singer for, let's just assume you're a pop singer who's in New York City, who speaks Spanish. So that's what they're looking for. They search, Scott, you come up on their search, and they listen, and they're like, oh, he's kind of got a cool voice. I kind of like him, but I don't think he's right for this project. I'm going to put him in my favorites. Okay. And then they come back and they do another search, and something comes up and your name comes up again. They're like, yeah, I don't know. I haven't worked with him before. I don't want to work with someone new. I really want to try, someone I know. Oh, the phone rings. The person I know called me. Boom. They forget about you. By the 10th time, and it's about 10 times that your name comes up, they have forgotten they don't know you. Now, all of a sudden, you have name recognition, and that's huge, and it takes time, and there's nothing else that I can offer anyone, whether I'm your personal manager and I'm spending $5,000 a year in marketing and promotional personalized services for you, or whether you're on Singer Express, which is why we created this. Because the key is repeated exposure and opportunities, submitting in tune, submitting on time, following the directions. If a submission comes in through our casting division and it says submissions must be in no later than next Friday at 3 p.m., don't submit at 2:30 next Friday. If you want to get that opportunity, get it in, because then it gives us, the casting department, a chance to go, you know what, we couldn't understand you on this word. Could you redo it? Or maybe once we're rolling them, and once the client hears it, they go, oh, that's our guy, and they stop. So these are all tidbits.
Yeah. I think this is one of those things that's also a numbers game. It's kind of like licensing your songs, and we've talked about that on other podcasts, but it's the more you can submit, the more you can have personal relationship and, get on the phone and talk to someone at Singer Express and really make sure that your page and your samples are totally optimized. I've gotten great advice from Andree and the other people working there that, oh, what if you just change this one and that's not actually categorized correctly, and just, fine tuning it so that it's very searchable, and then playing the numbers game. Anytime that something remotely fits your voice and sound, absolutely. I'm not, of course, submitting to the male Spanish speaking voiceover opportunities that, I delete, but
anytime, you might know someone. So that's why
I don't, but I might.
I just wanted to clarify, Cheryl, when you said, because just to clarify so people are clear, we try to spend as little time as possible on the phone. So I don't know if you just the only time we're on the phone with people and our members is if we've set up a consult, and actually that's a fee-based service, and we will do that. But by email support, you will get all of the support that you need. But on the phone, although you guys, as a very select few, when you join Singer Express, you will get a free page consult, which we charge $199 for. All of you, if you choose to join and be a Singer member, we will actually, one of us, and I will try and make it me if I can, but if not, everyone here is great. And we'll actually, after you join and you sort of look at it and you play with it and you see, we'll go through it with you and help you make the best page that you can. And that would take place over the telephone.
Yeah, that's what I did, and it was really valuable. And I do know that you guys do that on email too. So great questions, Scott. Thank you. Alex, I'm not sure if you have phone access. I don't know if you're just listening in. Are you available to ask a question?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, there you are. Great. Do you have a question for Andree?
Well, I have some, but she's pretty much answered everything except for, which is awesome. But I was curious if you had a funny story, or if you had the weirdest opportunity that you know of that's come through your service?
Oh, I like that.
Well, let's see. There are some ones, but I don't know if I want them out there. I'll give you one where someone didn't take our advice and it didn't go so well. So we had a singer member who had a record that was coming out, and a well-known performer wanted to have her sort of do a promotional advertisement for his upcoming record, a sort of joint promotion. So a very large national, or probably international, Westwood One I think is international, radio station wanted to do an interview with these two people, our member and this very, very high-profile performer singer who was doing a new project and was trying to utilize this member's services. And so they came to us and said, okay, what do we do? What do we need? What do we have? And so they hired us as a consultant just for, I think, an hour just to get their advice, and also wanted one of us to go with them, like just to sort of be with them at this interview process, but not go in with them, just literally go with them and be with them as if they had a manager with them. So, and I personally took this one on because it was a very interesting one and a very high profile one. And I advised this person very strongly to spend the money. I knew this person had the available money, didn't necessarily want to spend it, but had to hire a publicist, and that we would not be able to provide the needed services of a publicist, and a publicist is what was needed here, A, to make the most out of this event, but also to advise and counsel you on the things that you need to say and not say. And they would be able to be in the room during the interview. Oh, I don't need that. I don't want to spend money on that. I'll be fine. I've done tons of these things. And we said, okay. And I was out in the waiting room, and I was listening to the interview live, as it was a live thing. And they said, so, we hear that you've done a lot of commercials in your career. Could you tell us about some of them? And so this person said, oh, yes, I've sung for Coke, and I've sung for Pepsi. And they said, oh, so you believe in singing for commercials, and then that's an okay way to promote your talent. She said, yes, but only for products I believe in. And there was this dead silence, and how do you only believe in a product that's competitive with another product? So she referenced Coke and Pepsi and said she only would work for people she believed in. So her credibility was gone. The project went away, and the very high-profile star didn't want to work with someone because she had no credibility, because in that one moment, and you know what? I think she actually had sung for both of those clients at different times, but she just wasn't being true and honest. She was trying to create an image, and you can't do both. There's got to be integrity. So I think that was one of those I just sat there going, oh, nothing I can do, but very sad.
But a good question. I'm sure you've got lots of stories, and then it's probably easy to figure out who they are if you know anyone. So, and it's a small world of singers. So thanks for sharing that, Andree.
All right, we're going to stop there. Stay tuned next week when we continue talking with Andree about all things Singer Express. Please don't forget to rate and comment on iTunes and Stitcher Radio if you like this podcast. It's the best way to keep it going, get more subscribers, and continue to share this awesome information with the indie music community. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. All of the music on this podcast has been created by yours truly. The theme song is called Inevitably, written with Cameron Ernst and produced by Joey Ock. You can find all the songs, plus more information on my music career at CherylBE.com. If you want to be one of the reasons I can keep this podcast and my blog Living on Gigging going, then head to patreon.com/CBEmusic. There, you can contribute $1, $2, $5 for the creation of each of these free musician resources. Together, we can keep them coming and inspire other creative people to do what they love and do it well. Again, that's patreon.com/CBEmusic. Key Conversations is sponsored in part by Bandzoogle. They make it easy to build a beautiful website for your music. Their step-by-step system gets you online in minutes, and you can choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes and customize them with their easy point-and-click editor. All the features you could possibly imagine for a professional website are built in. So, because you are a Key Conversations podcast listener, you get a special 3-month free trial just for you. Go to www.inthekeyofsuccess.com/resources and click on the Bandzoogle logo to access your free extended trial.